Time now for Night Court to Tennessee, where the city of Nashville is suing an entrepreneur whose hot tub on wheels is one of the downtown area's most popular party vehicles. The Music City, however, wants a judge to shut down the mobile tub, arguing that its owner, Guy Williams, is operating a public swimming pool without a permit. Williams, for his part, tells Fox News at Night his hot tub doesn't meet the requirements necessary for a permit, and the cost of defending himself would likely put him out of business. So we began an argument with our legal eagles, class action attorney Kelly Hyman and Genco legal attorney Bryan Rotella. Guys, this is great stuff. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Before we welcome you in first, Kelly, let me share for the folks at home our Exhibit A. And this is very interesting. This sort of lays out what's happening. The Metropolitan Government of Nashville against Guy Williams. City says he needed a permit. They gave him a long list of things to change. Williams, for his part, never changed them. And he tells Fox because, look, they were untenable. I can't do it. What do you want? I can't do it, he says. It's going to cost me a fortune, and besides, it's not a public pool. Kelly, what do you think of his argument so far?
Well, ultimately, the court's going to make a determination on whether it is a pool or not. But the person that owns is basically saying that this is a hot tub on wheels, and therefore it doesn't qualify under the pool, and so therefore he shouldn't have a permit.
All right, Bryan, let me bring you in. After I show the folks at home Exhibit B, again, we're going to try to slow walk you through this just to give you an idea. Now, this is what Exhibit B says. He's claiming an exemption. The city says no such exemption exists. Mr. Williams stating that he was exempt. He claimed that his tub's capacity was only 300 gallons and that according to state law, a pool must have a minimum of 350 gallons to be considered a public pool. No such exemption. Okay, what do you think there, Bryan? He makes a pretty compelling argument about the numbers there. Does he have a leg to stand on?
Well, hi, Kevin. And no, there is no gallon requirement, at least of what he's referencing. But I'm going to give you one number, and to me, this is the whole number of the night. 27 issues was what this gentleman was cited for
Wow.
running this party hot tub. And, Kevin, I don't know that I would get into a hot tub at the Mayo Clinic in a diving suit if it had 27 issues cited. And the reason is hot tubs actually get sued a lot. And they get sued, companies that have public hot tubs, because the water sits, it doesn't circulate, bacteria grows, and we've actually had things where people have gotten Legionnaire's disease because you hit the jets on these things and it turns literally into a sprinkler of bacteria. That's not what I love Nashville, but I don't know that I'd want to be on the back of a trailer in a hot tub with a sprinkler of bacteria. I think the court's going to come in and say, stop. That's fancy lawyer language we use called an injunction.
Then that's what I figured might happen. Exhibit C, again, this is the example he gives. Kelly, quickly, I just want to see what you think of this argument. He says Airbnbs and overnight vacation rentals have hot tubs and spas without a permit or requirements to build with pool construction specs like hotels. This has nothing to do with health or cleanliness, which we take care of, but is another story. Your thoughts on his argument there, which basically he's saying you're being unfair. You're sort of trying to shove me out of business because you don't like what we do.
You know, that's a very good argument. He's basically saying, hey, listen, this doesn't meet the requirements of what a swimming pool is classified in Tennessee, and therefore it is a hot tub. As Bryan said, it's a hot tub, and so therefore it doesn't qualify as a public swimming pool, and therefore he doesn't have to have a permit.
Lastly, Bryan, in our last 30 seconds, you know, people love to talk about this idea that it's not a pool, it's not a public pool, and yet you've made a pretty compelling push to say at the end of the day we have to consider the public safety. Your closing argument before we go.
27 citations for a public pool on a trailer going through downtown Nashville. I hate to be the party pooper. Pull the drain on this thing, and that's what I think the courts are going to do.
Well, it looks like they very well may do that. I think the owner is arguing that at a minimum he deserves his day in court. We'll see what the courts ultimately decide. I think a lot of people like them. It sounds like Vegas a little bit. I've heard Nashville referred to as the Vegas of the East. We'll see what happens if the state decides to pull the plug, if you will. So great to have you with us tonight, Bryan and Kelly. Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Kevin. Same to you.
Thanks a lot, guys. A bit of good news before we say good night.